Hi, my name is Kelly Lundeen, and I'm just going to explain the differentiated instructional techniques that I used in the lesson plan for one of the students with a cognitive disability. So, my lesson was on paragraph writing, which is a form of literacy, specifically on traveling the Oregon Trail. I designed this lesson for 7th graders in an inclusion classroom, and the two students I focused on were one on the autism spectrum and one with a learning disability. So I differentiated for each of them. The specific objectives that they had to work on were for the student with a learning disability to write, his goal was to write a yes or no response to the posed question and support his or her reason why with 2 details. Write a concluding sentence, writing a total of 4 comprehensive sentences based on a graphic organizer. The child with autism's goal was more of a behavioral goal, and it was students will work collaboratively with a peer to edit each other's graphic organizer as demonstrated through positive tone, words, and feedback measured by teacher observation. So, for the differentiated instructional activity that I chose for the second learning target, which is the behavioral learning target, was a personal agenda. Now, while the personal agenda seemed to be more for a week-long process with a checklist, I kind of modified it to kind of work for our class. So, as the student has autism, it's, organization tend to be a problem, socializing with peers, collaborating with peers, that's all things that students with autism really struggle with, which is why I gave the student with autism that goal. So, in order to measure that goal, I came up with a checklist based on the personal agenda technique in Tomlinson to kind of help the students measure if they are being successful with the goal, help them kind of make progress on the goal, and help the teacher themselves kind of see the progress themselves. So the checklist, it's called Graphic Organizer for Goal 2 on my lesson plan, and it's called Peer Checklist. So it gives the student 6 tasks, and then the special instructions to go with each task. So that way, when the students are asked to get into their groups to collaborate with each other and peer edit their work, the students know what tasks to go through in order to successfully collaborate with their peers. So the first task is to ask a classmate who is finished also to be your peer editor partner. And the special instructions are to ask in a kind tone, because students on the autism spectrum might sometimes have difficulty remembering that. And then once they've done that, they can initial it on their form. The next task is to quietly read each other's graphic organizers. And the special instructions are to think about the material that your peer wrote, because, oftentimes kids might be looking at it but not really thinking about what they're reading. And this will just kind of help them stay on task. The word quietly will kind of help them know that it's not a time to be talking, it's time to be reading. And after they initial that, the next task is to tell the peer what was successful in their graphic organizer and what they might change. And it gives examples such as punctuation, spelling, and supporting details used. And the special instructions are to use a respectful tone and kind words, because that is something, again, that's hard for students with autism. Especially in the classroom the school that I work at, that's something that we really try to focus on, social skills at our school. The fourth task is to actively listen to your peer and provide that when they provide you with feedback. So, while the kids without special needs might not need that step, the kids with special needs might, because once they're done giving their feedback, they might just think that, the exercise is over and they don't need to listen to what their partner says about their project to them. And the special instructions are to listen quietly because it's their peer's turn to speak. Just kind of an extra tip. The fifth task is one that might be difficult for a lot of kids, which is to accept the feedback respectfully. So that means we can't get upset. The special instructions are not to argue with the peer about their opinions, because that's the whole point of this exercise, to kind of explore different people's ideas and opinions and get some feedback from someone in the class. And finally, the sixth task is to make any changes needed to a graphic organizer with your peer editor. And the special instructions are to use a different colored marker so you can see what you've changed, and that's just a good tip in general for anyone who's editing a paper. So that's basically why I chose the personal agenda instructional activity, just to kind of help the students with better organization and to just help them better collaborate with their peers overall, as that's something that children with autism tend to struggle with. All right, thank you.